Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. It is me, your host, Brandon, and I'm here again with my members of the Game Club. But actually, I think there's somebody extra here today. We got a new Game Club member, guys. And his name is Ills. Welcome, Ills. How you doing?
What's up, gentlemen? I'm happy to be here, I guess.
We're happy to have you.
Happy being relative, whatever.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm just happy to have somebody who's going to finish games here on the Game Club.
I'm here to save you from the dark times that you had.
Thank God. Thank God. I trust you. I know that you'll play these games and you'll give good, very well thought out opinions on them.
I actually wrote like a little bit of a script for this one.
Oh my God.
I'm super professional right now.
You're already way better than all of us.
I know.
Hold on.
Including the rest of the guys that are here. Will.
Hello.
Noah.
It's me.
And from all the way across the big old pond, Saf.
Hello there.
So how are we doing today, guys? How we feeling?
Feel good.
I'm pretty sweaty.
I was gonna say, you make the comment about us not finishing the game, but Brandon, this is the one time you can say that, because we did it.
That's true. That is very true. This week...
I think I inspired you.
That was it. I thought, what would Ills do in this situation? And I said, I'll finish this video game.
I hope it's a trend going forward. So this week, speaking of games, we played Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective, on the Nintendo DS, or the iOS, I guess, depending on which platform you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was Saf's pick. Thank you, Saf, for picking this game.
That was a very good pick.
For those of you who don't know, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective is an adventure, kind of point-and-click puzzle game developed by Capcom on the Nintendo DS and the iOS. It was released in 2010 or 2011 on the DS, and then I think
2010 Japan, 2011 North America.
In North America, yeah.
But very early in 2011, like January.
Yeah. So
It was done by the creator of the Ace Attorney series, the first 3 games.
it was Shu Takumi, actually,
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
creator of Ace Attorney. So he had an idea, he wanted to run with it, he made another game. And this game came out pretty good.
Yes,
I think so.
Yeah, so...
You can tell that he made it because his dog is in the game.
Oh yeah.
His actual dog?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it, but the dog in the game named Missile, his real dog is named Missile. He wanted to name the dog after his real life dog because he loves it a whole lot.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
cool.
adorable. I had no idea.
Yep.
You could also tell that it's him because the art style is highly reminiscent of Ace Attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It is a little bit different, but you can tell for sure.
Yeah, in general, you get a lot of Ace Attorney vibes from this game.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. In the game, you play as Sissel, a ghost that he dies at the beginning of the game. Spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses his ghost powers to help save other people's lives. He refers to them as ghost tricks. He can manipulate objects, bounce around from different inanimate objects and manipulate them in the environment to help save people. And he can also rewind time. He can go back, once somebody dies, he can go back 4 minutes before their death and do whatever he can within those 4 minutes to stop them from dying and change the future. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty cool mechanic. It's it's unique. As far as time traveling game goes, time traveling games, they get convoluted with stories. But this one stays good. It stays, it keeps you compelled to keep playing it, to see where things are going. There's lots of mysteries.
By and large, putting the 4-minute time limit helps keep it contained, right? Like, it helps the scenario not get crazy, like you said.
Well, later
Towards
on.
the end.
I mean,
We don't want to we'll get that in the spoilers, we'll get there, but like...
They kind of
early on.
shatter that, like, big time.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah. Things get wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw that out the window.
That's the main
But
premise of the game
they
itself.
neat it up. Sorry. They wrap it up quite neatly at the end. Like, they tied up every single like plot point that they make, or like any, and they kind of clean it up and wrap it into one like at the very least understandable situation. It's like, okay, this is what happened, and everything.
I didn't really like the ending.
You didn't?
No, I didn't really like the ending. I mean, it was a happy ending, and that's fine. But I didn't really like how it wrapped up. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
There's so you like I said, you play as Sissel, and later on in the game you do get a second playable character, and it does change it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was kind of surprised, honestly, later in the game. I was like, "What? Wait, what? They're adding a new mechanic this late?" Because I thought I was near the end, which I guess it pretty much was.
It was really late in the game.
Yeah.
Like chapters 15 or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
this game has 18 chapters in total too, so it did come really late. So one of the things I want to talk about in this game, we'll start with, I guess, the presentation. The whole game is, in 2D. It uses these almost like pseudo 3D sprites for the characters. Like I'm not sure if they're 3D. I don't
I
know.
think they are.
I'm pretty sure they are.
3D.
They are because they spin around and stuff.
Oh,
they're
that's
models.
true. So, I guess 3D sprites, but these character sprites, man, are one of the biggest like things in this game that I have so much praise for.
Yeah, it's like the animations are very smooth.
Yeah.
Very
Definitely.
And because it is 3D, I think they're able to do that more easily, right? It's sort of like how like Arc System Works games more recently like have 3D models presented as 2D, which allows them to animate more quickly and more smoothly.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, I think.
And they went a long ways to try and make sure that they animate as much as possible. Like in the beginning of the game, where like the intro part of the game, when you knock the first killer's shotgun into the air, like they just literally just have its own spin animation, and they do their own different styles to it. Like they go the full. They actually put in effort in actually showing you that look at how animated we are. Like,
Yeah, and like
they
all
just
those
use
animations really brought out like the characters' personalities too.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. All that, all those characters with the dancing quirks. And
Oh yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah.
So much dancing in this game.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's in service of like Noah said, it's in service of the characters and the story, right? Like when you see these characters like well realized in just the way that they like walk around, like just seeing their little idiosyncrasies, like when they walk into the room, how every character walks in differently, it means that, like you care more about, you view them more complexly as characters and like them more, right? Like even though a lot of them are cartoonish, obviously, you still like feel an affection for them because of the animation, in addition to the writing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not only the characters with the great animations. It's like every item that you interact with has like a specific motion. It's very, lovingly crafted, exquisitely detailed.
Mm-hmm. And it's by a small team as well, which is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, that a lot of the items and stuff in the environments, like for example, at a restaurant, there's this giant piece of meat, and when it starts coming, hanging from the ceiling, and when it starts coming unhinged, it looks very fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really is swinging, and you can tell it's about to fall, and just it's really smooth. I love the expressions of the characters too. It brings them all to life.
Yeah.
I do love it. I love it a lot.
Definitely. That's the art aesthetic is definitely one of the strongest parts of the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Agreed. Another good thing from this game is the music. I definitely like the music too.
Yeah.
The music
I
good.
was.
A guy got almost the full soundtrack downloaded to my iPhone.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Like
the
me
music
that,
was,
by the way. No, now I want that too. Now, gosh.
Yeah, there
like,
was some really good tracks in there for sure.
Which is, that's another thing that sort of carries over from Phoenix Wright, right? The like Phoenix Wright's famous for like Cornered and all these different tracks that like really make moments more impactful. Ghost Trick, like I like that it doesn't try to imitate a lot of the Phoenix Wright stuff. Like it has its own sort of sound to it. You can tell that once again you can see the connection there, but it stands on its own separately from it.
Yeah.
And so I think that it. Like you
There's
said.
something about like this game and the Phoenix Wright series, like they're really good. Like the composer is really good at like making the whatever's happening in that scenario intense with just the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Did a really good job.
Especially because you have the 4-minute time limit, and like seeing the little clock just tick down, the hourglass run out of sand as the music gets more and more intense. You're like, you know, you're panicking by like the last 30 seconds, right? You're like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh yeah.
I will say though, you know, the music doesn't reach the heights of Phoenix Wright, I think, altogether, but it is still really good. I guess in comparison to the Phoenix Wright series, you know, it doesn't reach the heights that like I get Phoenix Wright songs stuck in my head all the time. I don't really see myself getting songs stuck in my head from this series, but I do like it a lot. It did fit the mood for the game, and I think it, you know, overall it's definitely a great soundtrack.
I don't know if that's such a fair comparison because I mean Phoenix Wright has had what, like 8 games or something, and this game is a standalone game. So I mean,
Yeah. And they're sort of going for slightly different things, right? Just in terms of like Phoenix Wright, I think when you have those big moments of like build up, like with like the corner and when you're breaking down the like the witnesses, I think that like because it's more easy to get stuck in your head because of the way the format of each of the games work, you know, where like a lot of times with Ghost Trick, the clock is ticking down as you're hearing the song, so you don't really have time to like appreciate the moment as much as with Phoenix Wright, right? Where you can like sit there and just listen and be like, man, it's getting intense. But both games, I mean, while we're on the topic of sound, like I think the sound design is really good in both these games, right? Like, just
Top notch.
Just like the very first chapter. I mean, this sounds like a really minute thing, but like you meet a desk lamp, or you are a desk lamp, and you're waving around, and just like every little object that you mess around with and move, there's a sound that goes with it that like makes sense, is smart, and like it makes you feel like you're actually manipulating an object more, right? Instead of it just being a little thing that you picked on the menu that you're trying out, which I think is important to like make the moment to moment gameplay more engaging.
I will say that missile got on my nerves though. With
what?
How dare you?
Only with
What are
his
you
barking.
talking about?
Only with the barking. Everything else about him, I absolutely loved. But
Missile
the
is
barking
the
sound
purest.
effects, I was like, all right. I'm like, I can see why this lady would be getting pissed. This dog needs to stop barking.
Wow.
Missile was the absolute best.
He was great.
How
I love
dare
him.
you.
Other than the barking,
He can do no wrong.
he needed to contain
he's a perfect
himself.
little boy.
This is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I mean, not to get too deep into the story, I guess, until we officially like say spoilers, but I think like the music, the presentation, all of it, I think it's one of those situations where it paired with the writing, it is bigger than the sum of its parts in a lot of ways, right? Like separately, they're all good, but I think when they're all put together, it really makes a whole aesthetic and like vibe for the game that is unique to it
Oh yeah.
that I really enjoyed.
Definitely. While we're on the topic of comparing the Ace Attorney games to Ghost Trick, I feel like if we compare the art styles, I feel like Ghost Trick comes out on top.
I agree.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, the first-person narrative, like the perspective that they force on you for most of Ace Attorney games, it's really hindering. It doesn't really give you the same amount of immersion that you get in this game. Like, in this game, I mean, in Ghost Trick, you get to see all these, character animations, all these interactions that you wouldn't have a chance to see in the Ace Attorney games. I mean, I'd give the nod to the Ace Attorney games for the writing and the general stories, but for this game, the art is way better. My opinion.
Oh, I agree.
I agree. And
fair.
just like, I think the character designs, like, obviously, Phoenix Wright is full of these, like, more, like, you know, like, outlandish stuff, right? Like, you have, like, Old Bag and, like, the astronaut outfit and, like, you know, just it gets insane as the series goes on, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Well,
further you get into the series, the more
Yeah.
crazy the character design gets.
But this,
But Ghost Trick really goes out right
Yeah.
from the start.
Yeah,
You
that's
got
what I'm
crazy
saying, yeah.
characters.
I mean, you're controlling a dead guy, controlling other things.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
and it's fun.
It's already gone off the cliff by that
Yeah.
point.
But like
You could
Lynn,
throw
like
realism.
Missile, for example, right? Like those are two character designs. Like I mean, Missile's a cute dog. It's hard to screw up a cute dog, but they do a good job with it. And like Lynn, the very first person that you like save in the game, like just from her design, I was like, oh, she's cool. Like I want to like make sure that she makes it right. Like you know, just by the nature of the designs and the general art style, I found myself more quickly attached to the characters in Ghost Trick because of their designs.
I think we all know that Instructor Cabanela is the best thing that ever happened to this game.
He's so good.
Like the first time I saw him appear in the game, I was like, I didn't know Michael Jackson was in this game.
Oh, he's
From his dance.
he does the Thriller dance everywhere he goes, in every room.
That man is dedicated
It's
to his
amazing. I
craft,
love it
man.
so much.
He is the. I agree. He's the best character in the game for sure. Because he's doing the crotch grab and the twit, the spin and the moonwalk. It's just every single place he goes, no matter how serious the situation. I'm like, I love this man.
Yeah,
He shows up on a murder scene, like the way he walks down the stairs, showing
He
up. to
fucking
a
dances
murder scene.
upstairs. How do you do that?
So I want to touch a little bit more upon the gameplay in this game. We talked about it a little bit how you move around and control objects, but I want to get a little bit more in depth with it. So in the actual game, and I kind of actually wanted to ask you guys this question, because when you're playing the game, the main puzzles are during the 4-minute time sections where you have to save somebody's life.
Yep.
And during those 4 minutes, you can switch between the ghost mode and I guess the regular mode. And when you're in the ghost mode, that's where you move Sissel around.
Yeah.
And to move him around, on the DS, you have two options. You can click where he is and kind of draw a line, and there's a limit to how far this line can go. But if the thing's close enough to you, you draw a line from one item to another, and he'll jump to it. You can also use the control pad. So I played mostly this entire game only using buttons. I tried using the touchscreen controls a little bit, and there was a couple parts where I kind of had to, because two items would be close to each other, and I needed to get that precision because it kept switching to the wrong item. But for the most part, I found it more cumbersome to have to keep clicking, because there was, to switch between the ghost mode and the regular mode, you had to click in the bottom right corner of the screen. I found that a little bit more cumbersome than actually just hitting a button to switch in between them.
I played
guys
on
could hit 'em.
iOS.
Oh my god, so did I.
Yeah. So the buttons were
Jesus
not an
Christ.
option.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous of you guys having buttons right now.
There was a couple of moments where I was like, like I was like fumbling around, like when I was like trying to get it done. But I wouldn't say I had too much problems with it. I think it also sounds like you had more.
Yeah, I think it's just that I have fucking fat fingers or something, because my thumb kept hitting the side of the screen, and every time you play on iOS, when you hit the side of the screen, it auto suspends the game. So you have to. So I'm like reaching for the Ghost World button, and I'm suspending the game like 15 times, and every time it's happening, it's like one of those tense moments where you have to like time it. When you oh my god, it's like you have to wait for like a fan to reach a certain moment so that you could stop time to jump to a different item. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. It's... Yeah,
No, it wasn't an issue on the DS.
Just like really quick side note, when I went to like get this on iOS, because I didn't have the DS cartridge, when I went to download it, this date, I was really shocked. This came out like in Japan, like within 6 months of the original DS version.
Yeah, before it came out to DS. Yeah, that's crazy.
It was a super fast turnaround, which like I feel like we've expected now that like we're gonna get Final Fantasy VII on phones for some reason 20 years later. I thought it was wild that like back in 2010 Capcom was like, nope, iOS, it's soon, like as soon as this game is done on DS, port it over.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. I did notice that too. I actually, speaking of the way you bought this game, I actually bought this game brand new on Walmart.com of all places.
Oh baby.
In 2018, I purchased this game on Walmart.com brand new.
Goddamn Walmart shill.
Yeah, the mom and pop shop.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, it was like, I searched for the game thinking I would find it on some random website that just sells old games, and I'd get a loose copy, just the cartridge. And I'm like, no, here it is, brand new fucking sealed game on like, a big company website, 8 years later. I'm like, what the hell? I did not expect that.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $30. I paid retail price for it.
Oh, okay. On iOS, it's like 15, and
Yeah.
you get the first 2 chapters free, so it's pretty nice. And then you can buy the rest for like 15 or 10 or something like that.
I don't know, I thought it was worth it. I've always wanted to play this game, and I heard good things, and I was like, yeah, it's like a game I'd like to have in my collection.
I will say, I think the format of the game is actually good for the portable format, because chapters are generally shorter than they are in like Phoenix Wright, where a case can go hours. So like if you're playing Phoenix Wright, you're sort of expecting like I'm going to sit down for like an hour or two to do this. There were times where like I would sit down at like right before bed and do like 2 or 3 chapters of Ghost Trick, and like in like probably a similar amount of time. But I had a very good stopping point, which I think was fun, like where I could be like, okay, finish the chapter, go to bed, pick it up tomorrow.
I feel like that was way more accessible than the Phoenix Wright games. I feel like every time I try to play a Phoenix Wright game, it takes me like a month, because when I get into those chapters, I get stuck at one place, and then it like takes forever to get out. And it's because the chapters are so long that you never get a break. So it's just constantly compiling on top of each other. It's like really, I don't know. And I'm not very good at point and click adventure games anyway, so it's a problem.
Yeah, this is I don't know. It's because this game's weird. It definitely is a point and click game. I feel like it's definitely a different kind of point and click game. But it really just boils down to pointing and I guess clicking on random shit.
Oh really?
No way.
Whoa.
Because it's weird. Because I was kind of trying to figure out like would I class this as a visual novel? So I kind of like understand where your position is, man. But it's kind of like it is just the same way as a normal point and click adventure game. Even though it feels more than just that, like the characters feel more than understanding the story itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has like a little bit of everything. It's like a little bit of visual novel, mostly point and click, puzzling, that kind of thing.
It's funny because it sort of expands on like what were my least favorite parts of the Ace Attorney games, which is like the investigation part of it, where you're just like clicking on random things in the environment and seeing what happens, right? Like what comment someone will make. But they made it engaging in a way that I enjoyed playing
They
through.
did better in that sense.
In the Ace Attorney games, you don't really. I mean, when you interact with stuff, you just kind of guess, right? In this one, you it's a little bit of trial and error, but you have a sense of what's going to happen. They tell you what's going to happen when you hover on the item.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You
like
like if you click on something,
or drop or things like that.
swivel. Yeah. Exactly. You know what the item's going to do when you interact with it.
Which is good because it minimizes frustration because you are on the clock, right? So
definitely.
you don't have to waste time
does.
being like, what is this going to do?
I will say I was not stumped at any part of this game, which is like for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Like
I did get stuck on like 2 points, but that was due to my own errors. I can't blame the game on those. I was just being dumb.
I kind of wished for a little bit more challenge within the puzzles of the game, but I mean overall I definitely thoroughly enjoyed it. There's no point where it wasn't like so easy that I was like, oh, this is dumb. But also at the same time, I kind of left me wanting a little bit more challenge with the puzzles altogether. But I definitely, it was great.
Balancing
Can't really
puzzles
complain.
in adventure games is really hard, right? Because there's the fine line between like this is too easy versus why did I have to use the like piece of glue on the carpet? Why like there was no way for me to guess this.
Yeah.
This was the process to get the answer.
Yeah.
So a lot of them make you have to make certain deductions that nobody in the world would fucking make.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was, it's the thing with puzzle games, that satisfaction of that eureka moment, where, oh, I got it. Where this game, I don't think I ever felt that. It was a couple times maybe where I was like, I know exactly what I got to do. I just got to figure out how to do it. It was never like, oh, I got it. Now I got it. Like, it was no, like, the light bulb turned on moments. It was all just, I know exactly what I have to do.
It
was fun getting there.
It was a good chapter for that. The one where the guy was having a heart attack and you had to get his pills. That was a good chapter. That was well designed.
Yeah,
that was probably the best puzzle in the game. And it was also the same where I was like, I know exactly what I have to do. I just kind of have to figure out what how to get to that point.
Yeah. I thought that was like my favorite one.
I agree.
My least My least favorite one was the goddamn jail escape. My fucking
I really
god.
liked that part, but that's one of the parts where I got stuck as well.
I was furious. It's like you can't see what's going on around you because they turn down all the lights. So you can only see in ghost mode. But when you're in ghost mode, you can't move the camera. So you have no idea where the hunters are. And if you get spotted by one of the hunters, it's an automatic game over. So what the fuck?
Well, it just basically resets you, yeah.
I thought you could do that.
When you're not in ghost mode, but you can't see anything.
Yeah, because
you
it's
can't
all
see the lights.
black. Yeah, but then you have to manage more than one hunter at a time. Because there's like 2 or 3.
It's like
Yeah.
4 of them, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, so
I did fail that part a couple times. I didn't have as much frustration as you did for sure, but I did fail it a few times, and I was
You know,
like,
once I got past that part where I was stuck, I was just like, oh, okay.
I think I was just more upset that I was playing, like, I was consistently getting through the game. I basically beat the game in 2 days. And that first day, I got through, like, half the game. And when I got to that point, I was like, what the fuck? It was just, like, so, like, a difficulty spike I wasn't expecting. At least to me.
I will say, I mean, like, I think that, Brandon, I don't think you're wrong in regards to, like, you know, from a straight up puzzle design, like, there are moments where it can feel too easy or can be frustrating. But I think it's one of the situations where the different parts of the game can help balance out the issues, where, like, even if I wasn't always, like, super stumped by the puzzle or super engaged by the puzzle, the scenario and the characters were a motivating factor for me to solve it anyways, right? Like,
oh, definitely.
So there's, you know, so sometimes if the puzzle isn't great, it's still like, well, you know, just the core conceit of avoid someone's fate of death and, like, and seeing their, you know, their intros and who they are helped keep me like, oh, I still want to solve this. Like, I still want to, like, do a good job here.
Yeah, because you really like these characters.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to still keep going playing the game. I mean, there was a day we had a 4-day weekend last weekend, and I think one of the days me and Noah both literally just sat there playing the game the entire
Oh,
day.
yeah. As, like, going back to the topic on, like, how it makes you keeps you wanting to keep playing, like we mentioned earlier, the game does a really good job on, like, not making its core mechanics stale. So it's like, the first thing is, like, you have to figure out how to save the person from dying. That's, like, one of the main things of the game that you most of the time you do. But it also throws in things like the prison escape scene. It's like it manages to keep the game, like, fresh, so you're not doing the same thing over and over and get bored easily.
Yeah.
And then it's like have other mechanics where you are manipulating objects and stuff, but it's not to prevent someone's death. It's to, like, help them guide to do, like, for getting the girl to hide before the killer shows up in chapter 2, I think.
Right.
And then, like, trying to get the telephone to the girl that's
Oh
sick
my
in bed so she can call
That
her
was a
dad.
great one. That was a great
Yeah.
one.
That was really good. And then, like, towards the end chapters, you have to escape the whole. I guess we're going into spoilers.
It's a submarine.
territory
It's
now.
a submarine.
Yeah, it's a submarine. Well, it is kind of spoilers, yeah. But, like, trying to navigate her, like, Lynn, through the fucking submarine with, like, all the fans, moving the fans and the platforming. It's the game does really keep it fresh, like, constantly.
And I appreciate, like, because we mentioned earlier, the adding in the different abilities besides just manipulating objects that comes later on. I think that is actually, it was late, but I like that it was late because it added just a little wrinkle to the last little bit of the game, because that sort of around that point was where I was like, okay, I've got a handle on the objects thing. I sort of know everything here, and so, like, just when I had that fully, like, okay, I feel like we sort of expended all of the different ways we can go about this, they added in that new wrinkle, which is, I mean,
New mechanic, yeah.
are we cool to just say spoilers from here on out? If you want to play Ghost Trick, maybe
Definitely
pause it.
recommend playing it. So, but
Yeah.
it's important that you don't get spoiled too, otherwise it might ruin the
Put a timestamp
experience.
on that.
So
Yeah.
proceed with
Yeah.
your own caution.
So spoilers from here on out. They give you the ability to swap objects, right? And, like, that, and then in the final one, a whole other thing of manipulating people, right? Which is only used really for, like, a moment, but I think that, like, it was good to make those final puzzles feel like an actual escalation for, like, the last little portion of the game.
Right. And the swap mechanic, they really put to good use. Like, in the original scenario that they give you in the park, that's one of the best, like, the most fluid animated areas, because you got that park guy jumping through the jumping on the
swings,
the swing to the spin set or whatever.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. But then later on, when you have characters that can sense the ghost abilities, and you have to be careful, that swap ability is really cool because they put it to good use in the narrative, because it's really surprising what they do with it.
There was one thing actually I forgot to mention. I really wanted to mention earlier. One of my favorite parts of writing in the game was that Sissel, like Phoenix, always has his internal thoughts. Mm-hmm. But in the Ghost world, his internal thoughts can be heard by everyone.
And he always
it's just
forgets.
an ongoing joke. Yeah, he forgets every time.
It's good. I like it. But because for a lot of the game, he is the only ghost, right? So he's got used to just being like, I can think out loud, but then like, nope, sure can't, dude.
I feel like I would make that mistake 100 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I wouldn't get tripped up that way.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of writing in that. It was every time it happened, it was funny because it's always good to see the characters react, even like nonchalantly to it, and then him just being like, "Oh yeah, shit."
And I love the stuff with. I love everything with Missile. I love just the way they escalate like his whole thing, and the fact that like he is the reason you can swap objects because of stuff that happens, right? Like, and stuff revelations that come on even at the very very end of the game, right? Like,
yeah.
You can't say much else, but what a good boy. What a good boy.
He's such a hero.
Yeah.
And it's so great that he has such a longer reach. It makes it like so much more fun to control him because he can go so much faster than Sissel.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and so much further too.
Yeah, oh Jesus. I loved it. It's so freeing.
Mm-hmm. But I love the personalities that they even give to the minor characters. Like even like in the writing or like in their own thoughts. Like I love the different personalities. Like in the superintendent's office, there's a police officer who has a major crush on Lynn, and it's funny as fuck.
Yeah, I agree 100% on that. Right, like there's a lot of like clear affection for every character in the game. Right, like there's just like everyone has their own voice that they sort of speak in, and like a lot of times it's cartoony, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because when you have a character that's on screen for 5 minutes, but you have to make them stand out, and so I think like the ending where the credits where they just do the like here's sort of everybody's fate type of thing, like I found myself being like, oh man, yeah, that guy, like I loved, like I'm happy that it worked out for that guy and that girl, and you're like, oh, that's good.
It's like one of those movies or old TV shows when it ends and it's like this person went on to do this and goes through everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Missile went on to become a senator.
I'd elect them.
Mm-hmm. I would. I mean, didn't a dog become mayor or a cat? I think it was a cat in some town in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
There's a dog. I think there's both a dog mayor and a cat mayor in 2 separate towns. I wonder if they have a rivalry.
They're ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
Those towns.
But speaking of cats, there is the twist with Sissel at the end. That our boy is a cat.
Oh,
How did you feel about that?
I hated it.
I loved it.
I didn't like it. I mean, I like cats. I have a cat. I didn't really care about him being a cat. I like you know what I liked? Like during the game, I thought it was really interesting that he could be a bad guy regularly, but after he died, he turned into he was doing good things. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really compelling. And when they took that away, him not actually being a bad guy at any point, I felt kind of let down.
I mean,
like he just became.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I thought it was neat that like the whole narrative thrust was. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Seth.
An arsehole more than a bad guy, which is.
Well, I mean, he was trying to kill people to get revenge.
Yeah,
he was a bad guy.
He was. Well, yeah. I mean, but when we found out that wasn't him, it was the other thing.
Like when he revealed himself, he wasn't actually a good guy. He was still kind of an arsehole because he was motivated by his own selfish desires.
What do you mean?
He didn't.
The human guy that he was pretending to be?
Yeah.
The cat?
Because he didn't want to help out in the first place. Remember?
Well, I mean, no, it was a cat that had just died and was like, I don't know, dude. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it was just a cat.
It's an understandable call.
We forgot to mention in the beginning when you wake up and you're dead, like you don't remember who you are.
Yeah.
So everybody makes you assume that you were the detective.
yeah, you see the body on the ground, right? And you're like, oh, that's
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And then
It's the
so
only
he-
thing you can assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the ending.
and so like I mean, and that's like his whole thrust. Like
Yeah,
that's the
and
first
it's
thing he
like-
says is like, I want to
yeah,
know
like-
who I am. And so I think
like
that
when Ray, the lamp that gives you like basically tells you all about your ghost tricks and stuff, like he asks you desperately for your help to like try and solve a mystery that he doesn't really
like,
tell
he-
you much
he
about,
lies to
and
you
you're
in
like,
the first
you
place.
know, thanks for telling me all these things, but I need to find out who I am. I don't give a shit about you, kind of thing.
But
Yeah.
even though he does that, he still goes on trying to help people, even though he knows that it's not going to help his mystery. There are various times throughout the narrative where he's like, well, this is not going to help me, but I'm still going to do it.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that was like towards the middle. In the beginning, he's constantly going out because
Yeah.
that's his only lead. Like that was
Yeah,
the only
like,
reason why he was
to be
helping
lied
Lynn in
to,
the beginning,
to
was
be
because
able
that
to
was his
follow
only
through
lead
with
to
that.
figure out who
Like,
he was.
He like Missile had to lie to Sissel to be able to start this trail in the first place. Otherwise, he just went off to do his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's why
don't
I gave
know,
him the time limit too, right? He said he's like, I tried to tell you before and you ran away, so I gave you the time limit and I told you that this would be the way to find out the secret because like, you know, he saw how it went before.
I mean, all right, he wasn't evil, is what I mean.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like you could say selfish, but like also an understandable thing, like.
Yeah.
And when you got to thinking that he was actually evil, like because you thought he was the human,
Yeah.
then it became interesting because it became like a narrative about him becoming good while he was dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought
Yeah,
that.
but at the same time, I thought that would have made no sense because I thought that's what they were leading. But I was like, how is he the human, but also this guy's the human? What is going on
No,
here?
I thought it would have made sense because I thought it would have been saying that, like, once, like, at a blank slate level, people are basically good. So, like, once you wipe away all that bullshit from your memories, then you're gonna try to be a good person. I thought that's what they were going for. You know what I mean?
And that sort of lasts like even like I mean like he's still a blank slate. He thought he was a human the whole time, right? Like
Yeah.
until the very end. But I thought it was just a neat subversion because like I think that if it just ended up being he was who he thought he was and he just learns his backstory, like that would have been fine. But I think that like towards the end it would have sort of lost its narrative thrust once you sort of, especially when you see, gosh, what's his actual name? I'm bad.
Yomiel.
Yeah, when you actually see Yomiel, you're like, hold on, none of this makes sense. All this falls apart. And so
I don't think
that,
so.
like,
I don't think so.
you
I
mean,
think it's more compelling that he would change, you know, relative to, you know, what he would have become because of his memories or his life experiences.
sure. I'm just saying, like, for the story that they wanted to tell, I think that would be like for the Jowd and for the Yomiel stuff and for the Lin, like as a kid, basically the final chapter stuff. Like if he was him, Yomiel and him and Cecil both being a thing, like that's where it would get very hard to, you know,
Yeah, that was
to get that to work.
There was no way that was gonna work after they introduced all that, you know, 10 years ago stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, even that to me, it was cool, but you know, and it all made sense. But even that to me seemed like a weird like stretch.
Definitely.
I liked it insofar as it was an
But
escalation,
again,
right?
like,
but
they made it work. Like they actually didn't leave any like plot holes. Like how the fuck did this happen, kind of thing, because they tied it in.
Sure.
Because he was able to freeze his clock. Like the first thing I thought when I saw like his core and just before you go back 10 years, it's like, wait a minute, but I've seen him dead before in the beginning and in other chapters. How come he didn't have a core then? And they actually explained it because the assassins actually took out the meteor piece from him.
Yeah.
So now his core was actually revealed because when the meteor piece was in him, it actually froze his internal clock. So like
Yeah, no,
they
they
still
definitely-
connected. Like they made everything made sense.
and I thought it was
great.
Shit, it made sense.
I thought it was
just a stretch.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a neat little exploration of the idea of like, oh, you can go back in time to 4 minutes before a person's death. They didn't have to die recently to do that, right? Like, if you see a corpse that's 10 years old, you can go back 10 years. Like, that's a thing where I was like, I'm stupid for having not thought of that. You know, like, how did I not think that's where they were going to go?
I thought they they maybe stretched that a little too much.
No,
I don't know. It was fine. I liked it. I just I wouldn't have written it that way. Is my point.
It was a lot out of nowhere at the end, though. Genuinely, like you're just like, oh my god, like like with the lamp being missile and like missile being a thing, you're like, oh, this is a whole lot. Cecil's a cat. There's just a lot to unpack in the last hour of that game, and like I liked it by and large, but it is narratively, you're like, wow.
I would have never fucking guessed that the lamp was missile. Like I thought the lamp was going to be like the villain at some point, but I was talking to Seth, like as I was playing the game, like I was messaging him. And I was like, just before like the whole thing, like at the submarine bit, just before going to the park and everything, I was just like, looking at all those like little hints that the game was dropping, I wouldn't be surprised if Sissel is not like the actual guy, but an animal like a rat. Like when it showed the cutscene where Lynn fired the first shot but missed, I thought, and then fired again to kill Yomiel. And I was like, I thought to myself like, wait a minute, so he never knew how to read, because he mentions in some of the chapters. He doesn't know what certain items are, or objects, like the microscope or whatever. So it's like, what if he's a rat that Lynn shot with the first shot, just randomly in the junkyard, and you're just a rat trying to figure out who you are?
Yeah.
I didn't think of the cat, though, because it only showed in the beginning, but
You were
I
really
came
close.
close.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah. Who he was.
that's probably the sign of a good twist, right? Is like if you're paying attention, you can see it coming, but not guess it exactly.
Yeah.
But I would have never guessed that fucking missile was the lamp. Like, that blew me
Yeah.
out. Like what
The
the
cat
fuck?
twist didn't.
Well, I mean,
The cat twist I was okay with, but then the 10-year-old old man missile, I was kind of like, what?
I mean, he lied to you in the beginning.
has-
That's why you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
it, and like the whole thing made sense, and I was okay with it for the most part. But I was just like, they're kind of pushing it a little bit with this.
the little dog has a beard because he's been waiting for so long.
And again, they had a whole explanation, so you don't have questions on
Yeah,
how
they-
the fuck did
they
that
never-
happen.
Yeah.
It just was fucking wow. Okay, that's out there.
Well, we've talked a lot about Ghost Trick. We really have. We've gotten past all the spoilers.
Yeah.
And now, we pretty much said everything we want to say. Before we get on to the next segment, I just want to go through each of you guys real quick and just ask if you would recommend this game to somebody else. And I feel like I think I know the answer already, but you can keep it short if you want. So let's just go around. We'll start with Ills.
Yeah, I would. I really love the aesthetic, all the style. I mean, this game absolutely oozes style. I mean, I'd say to get it on the DS because of my problems with the iOS version, but if you have no other choice, iOS is perfectly, understandable and decent. So yes.
All right. Will?
I would. I mean, in addition to all the stuff that Il said, like just stylish and a great game, like heartfelt, like just you can feel there is such a passion for like the idea of like of all these characters, and that's very hard to like feel in a video game, and you can feel it in Ghost Trick. So I think it's worth playing.
Right. Noah?
Oh, definitely play it. It is really an underrated, like one of those hidden gems that nobody knew about that didn't blow up. I don't know why it didn't get sold so many
there was no
copies.
marketing
Apparently
for the
they
game.
didn't really
It
do
was-
that well, did it?
Yeah, it was real late in the DS. Was part
Yeah.
of it.
It was
But
very late.
I really wish they make a sequel one day. I absolutely loved it, and I'm sure a lot of people will if they try it.
Interestingly enough, Shu Takumi said in 2013 that he wanted to make like a crossover game with Ace Attorney and
That would be sweet.
Ghost Trick. So I don't know, but I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds like an interesting idea. Like he was saying that Phoenix Wright could be killed, and then Sissel would, try to help him out,
Oh boy.
stuff like that.
I mean, it would be
That'd
cool.
be tough to
That would
do
definitely be
because
cool.
they kind of concluded the whole story and kind of took away the power stuff. But at the
Yeah,
end.
but they
yeah.
did Phoenix Wright and Professor
Yeah,
Layton.
and then they're just like, this is not canon. Like, just don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. They're there for the fun times. I would definitely recommend this game to everybody. This was a Nintendo Power game. I like to call all the games back in the Nintendo Power days. Rest in peace, Nintendo Power. We'll never forget you. All these games that they used to suggest, all these games that they knew would go under the radar, and I played a lot of them. This game was one I knew existed but never got around to playing. Glad I finally did, and I would definitely suggest it to everybody.
Shut
Now
up.
I would ask Saf, but he's the one who suggested this to us. This wasn't one of those games where he, just said, "I always wanted to play this game, guys. Let's play it." This was a game he had a lot of experience with, and wanted us to play as well. So, pretty much, he already did recommend it to people. But Saf, let me just ask you anyway.
And I would go one step ahead, and I would say I would definitely, if I ever had one game to be remade, I would definitely, or if I could pick one game to be remade, to better phrase it, I would definitely pick this game for the Nintendo Switch, because it would fit perfectly for that Switch. Like, the controls are there, and it is an incredibly fun game.
Oh, it definitely would.
Yeah, it would look real nice in HD. I want to see those dance moves on the big screen in HD.
Yeah.
Lovingly
It's only
rendered.
right.
So, with that being said, guys, sounds like this game gets a pretty good stamp of our approval. But the final stamp is putting it on the list.
The list?
Yes. Ills, you're part of it now.
You picked up faster than
Part of
Moose did.
Yeah, that's true. So,
That's not much.
man.
Saying
Ills, you're part of the lore of being able to make this list canon. Because this list is officially canon.
I see.
And now you get to be part of the lore of being able to put it wherever you want. Well, I guess not wherever you want, but at least suggesting where you think it deserves to be.
Wait, I go first?
No.
Okay. Good.
Traditionally, I start with whoever picked the game. Because I think it's only fair that they pick the game here on the Game Club, and they get to give their first general idea of where they think it should go on the
Oh,
list.
jeez. This list is a travesty.
Well,
Oh boy.
it's canon. Don't forget. It is a canon list.
It's the imperfect canon. Re-ranking episodes coming up. Please be excited.
It's come very soon, actually. Very, very soon. Holy shit. So, Saf. Where do you think this game should go? Where should it be on this list? Where?
I have a
canon.
good idea of where I want
Don't
to put
forget
it,
the word
but
canon.
I want to break tradition a little bit for the sake of seeing where this
Oh.
goes. But Brandon, would you mind choosing a place where you want to put this game?
My heart. My heart is filled with so much love right now.
Saf, you
I
might
wanna see
regret
what-
this.
I really do.
Okay.
I already have my eyes set, but yeah.
Yeah, I have an idea.
I think this game deserves to be
Number 16.
at number 16.
Whoa.
That's low.
That's low? That's high for me.
See, I thought this was going to happen. You're gonna have a wide range on this
Put
one.
it somewhere between the other two visual novels, like Danganronpa and Phoenix Wright.
No,
I want to put it at number 9.
Damn.
I was gonna put it at number 11, 12, 11.
I genuinely thought that Brad
Well, I'm way off.
in that range, so that's why I was going for. I was like, where does he Brad put it?
I mean, my reasoning is because it's so similar. And Phoenix Wright is a very good game to compare it to, but I also went up the list in terms of like I always start from the bottom and go up. But that's where it felt like it most sense would be. So I just compared it to like Phoenix Wright and Danganronpa, and I just thought as a better package, I prefer Ghost Trick. It's like if there was a different Phoenix Wright game, like one of the more modern ones or crazier ones, there would probably be more of a competition between the two. But if it's just the first one and not the whole series, then I think Ghost
I
Trick
would
takes
put it
it.
above Phoenix Wright as well, personally. But I don't agree with Phoenix Wright being at number 10. So...
I don't either. I think it's a lot higher than it should be. But we have something coming up to
Imperfect system.
fix that. Yeah. See, that's the thing too. I'd put it above the first Phoenix Wright.
Well, jeez.
But I wouldn't put it above Super Mario Brothers or Okami.
I put it above Super Mario Brothers.
Easily.
I would not put it above Earthbound or Okami. Or Donkey Kong Country 2, actually.
Yes. A man of reason.
How dare you? I mean, I'm sort of around there. I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about things that are high, I'm in the spot with Left 4 Dead 2. So like, I would probably put it above Left 4 Dead and below Earthbound. Is the problem, right? Like, but Earthbound is below Left 4 Dead. So I mean, that's why I was saying like 11 or 12 was sort of where I'd be comfortable with, like just below Phoenix Wright, because
I put it above Super Mario Brothers.
I think it's better than Left 4 Dead.
As high as I was gonna do.
All right, it's time for some bargaining here.
Time for some bargaining.
So I think below Okami, I'd put it above Super. I'd go as far as putting it above Super Mario Brothers.
I agree with that. Any
I think it should be higher.
Higher. 3 is the number, so where does Saf feel?
But that's the problem where these like, I didn't want to put Danganronpa as high as I put it, and I was like, but Phoenix Wright is it? Well, Phoenix Wright is. I wanted to put it above Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright was too high. I mentioned that when I said that's where I wanted to put it.
Jesus.
That's the thing.
I'm just thankful
like,
that Ills is here because we have an odd number. Because otherwise,
Yes, thank God.
Oh God, this must have been hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea.
Fire Emblem versus Donkey Kong.
Zach
Oh
and Wiki.
jeez. Fire Emblem should be above Valkyria Chronicles.
No.
We
Thank
went a
you.
full hour on this. We went a full hour on this.
We're not talking about
That was the
one
week
now.
I
We're
was
talking
gone,
about
and it went to pieces.
God damn it, thank you, Ills. But
The people voted.
See, this is a fantastic game. Like, it does a lot of things right. So I feel as though it's justified to put it high up in the list. In regards to this, as to how high I would want it, it's going to be a different matter altogether.
Oh dear.
I guess I could put it above Donkey Kong Country 2.
I would be willing to put it above Donkey Kong Country 2, but below
Yeah,
Earthbound.
into that.
uh-uh.
Damn.
I'll do it.
No,
Donkey
we
Kong
need
Country
it.
2, man.
No.
No, we need the vote.
I
I
would
said
be.
above Donkey Kong. I'm fine with that. I'll go even higher though, but
Donkey Kong Country 2 is pinnacle.
That's a damn shame.
I mean it is. I'm not saying Donkey Kong Country 2 is bad.
Ghost Trick is not like pinnacle of
I think
point
Ghost
click
Trick is
or
the best.
It wasn't pinnacle
Visual
because
novels.
it didn't blow up.
Donkey Kong
unfortunately.
Country 2 is like pinnacle platform.
Nah,
Best
baby.
that-
It is golden age platforming.
It is golden age, but not. I wouldn't say the best
Like,
platform.
Part of the
It's barely been reached again.
Ghost Trick is the best.
Tropical
that
Freeze.
should actually create out of
Like-
all the other games that you play. Like I feel so that's the pinnacle of this talent, Ghost Trick.
I can see that.
All right, I guess they have the votes, so I mean we can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I think below Donkey Kong Country 2, but
It's final.
if that's
Let's do this.
it's final votes.
Saf wants to lock it in as soon as he possibly can.
What else can we do? It's 3-2.
It is true.
That's true. Well, the question is, do we want to go higher than that since we got past Donkey Kong Country?
Oh hell no!
Oh no! I don't like this. I'm gonna stop the train. I'm gonna stop the train.
See?
That train's already out of fucking control.
Well, listen. I'm gonna try to pull the brakes as we're going off the tracks and say we're gonna stop below Earthbound, because then it becomes 2 to 3.
Jesus Christ! Ghost Trick above
Shame.
DKC2. That's
I know, Ilse. I'm so glad you
Man.
did. Have I said that yet today?
Did you hear that Gangplank Galleon
glad you're
remix
here.
for
Would've-
Smash Brothers? Oh baby.
Probably would be at number like 5 if you weren't here.
No, you want to move it up to number 5?
Yeah, let's move on.
hey,
straight to the top,
what are you
baby.
guys doing?
Wait. Which one?
Trick.
Which one are we talking about?
I'm joking.
Already
Ghost
hit
Trick.
I'm
the
Oh,
joking.
you guys are fucking terrorists.
I'm joking.
Yeah, right. This is the shit I have to deal with on a weekly basis.
What the fuck? This is democracy unmoored from reality.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we're outnumbered here. So with official ranking, is going to be number 11, Left 4 Dead 2, number 12, Earthbound, number 13, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, number 14, Donkey Kong Country 2.
Such shame.
Diddy Kong Quest, it's a damn shame. And number 15, Okami HD. So that is where it ranks on the list as of right now. We did mention that we have a shake-up episode coming soon before the list.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
The Superstar Shake-up.
Oh, no.
But once we hit that threshold of 50, which is going to be
Next week,
baby, on the next episode of the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. Or not the Game Club, just a regular episode.
Yep.
We're hitting number 50. And then the re-rankings start.
Oh, no.
Where we each are going to pick one game, and we're going to have to move that game somewhere else on the
it's a
list.
whole episode of just the list. So,
Yes.
Oh dear.
So if you like to hear our absolute shit garbage opinions, then you're going to love
the garbage
this
can
episode.
will become a dumpster. It will be so
A
much
dumpster
bigger.
fire.
Yeah.
Just all of us, a collective 5 different dumpsters all being lit on fire at the same time. That is going to be this episode, and it's going to be good, family, wholesome entertainment for everyone to enjoy.
All right.
So look forward to that. But before we leave officially, I just got to wrap things up, and I just want to say thank you for listening to the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. My name was Brandon, and I want to thank Will, I want to thank Ills, I want to thank Noah, and I want to thank Saf for joining. I want to thank Saf for picking the game. A few quick plugs. Make sure you follow us on Jump Up Supercast, or well, twitch.com/jump.
Twitch.tv, I messed it up too.
Oh yeah, shit.tv. Who am I? Fucking that dude from Triple Mania. Anyway, yeah, twitch.tv/Jump Up Supercast. So watch us play video games. Maybe we're going to be playing the next Game Club game that we'll get to in a second, live on stream there. Also follow us on Facebook.com/Jump Up Supercast and Twitter.com/Jump Up Supercast, where you can follow to get updates as episodes get posted, as we go live on Twitch. Very important stuff going on there, and even Instagram, where I will post, secret stuff that you will get firsthand before anyone else. You'll be able to find the next Game Club games being posted there. One and only place you can find that. So make sure to follow us and share and like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. We love you guys. But Will, it's your turn next.
Oh, baby.
My good friend.
Now, when I had a list of like 7 games. Brandon has a list that will last us until, the next century of games he wants to
so
do in
do
Game
I.
Club. But of the 5, I made a decision because I thought, let's change it up a little bit. Did a point-and-click adventure game. Let's get action-y. Let's get hot and heavy. Let's get a game that some people would describe as a 3.0 out of 10. I don't think I would agree. God Hand for the PlayStation 2.
God, how the hell am I going to play that?
It is on the PS3. If you...
It's true.
Jesus.
It is. For $10.
$10 on the PlayStation
Pretty cheap.
3.
I bought it. I screenshotted it and I shared it to Will. I said, bought the game, buddy. Don't worry.
Yeah, baby. So if you don't know what God Hand is a Capcom game. I guess
again.
3 in a row?
3 in a row.
it's a Clover game, actually.
Yeah.
And it is, it's got Shinji Mikami, the Resident Evil man himself, was on this joint. And I mean, I guess the best comparison, it's an action game, but it's a behind the camera, over the shoulder perspective to it. Third person. I guess God of War might be the closest camera I would compare it to, the 2018 one.
Maybe Asura's Wrath.
Azura's Wrath, yeah. Yeah. And, but it's a game that I played like an hour of, and I want to go back and beat because the combat was fun and there was a lot to it. And also, it's got weird cowboy stuff. There's Japanese people doing a cowboy game, which is always weird. They don't know quite how cowboys work, and I like it a lot.
That's fair. I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am. That game, as I mentioned to Will, I was like, oh, that game's on my list. Cool, get to cross it off 2 weeks in a row where somebody picked a game that was on my list, so perfect.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy, baby. So thank you guys again for joining us. I appreciate you guys hanging out and talking about video games with us, as always. Have a great day. Play some video games and be nice.
Yep. Peace.